talked about it a lot. You've probably heard it about a lot too. The 15% tax on foreign home buyers going into effect in Metro Vancouver today. Tony Joe's here. He's a RE/MAX Realtor. He's also president of the Asian Real Estate Association in Vancouver. Good morning to you, first of all.
Hey, Al.
So obviously, there's a lot of chatter about this. How much chatter are you hearing about this?
A lot, particularly obviously from our colleagues in Vancouver who are dealing with this right now. And it was a hairy Friday because a lot of people were rushing, trying to accelerate their sales before the August 2nd deadline. So, one of the most difficult things here was the implementation of this tax. It wasn't just on transactions that were written after August the 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
There were things that have closed as of August the 2nd. So when you think about it, there are a number of sales that occurred months ago where this was not even a factor, and all of a sudden people need to make that tax payment.
I guess the question is, and maybe it's too early to tell, or maybe it's just crystal balling at this point, but what kind of impact will this tax have on... We'll start with Metro Vancouver and we'll branch out to other markets.
Well, we do think that anyone who is thinking of investment, purchasing properties solely for investment in Vancouver, which remains a trophy city, that will still go on. And when you think about it, that 15% tax, we've seen that in other areas. Hong Kong imposed that tax back in 2012. So, it is not foreign to those who invest internationally already. What it will do to other areas, it's giving eyeballs to regions like Toronto, who are, closely watching what's happening there.
Sure.
Obviously, surrounding towns, even Victoria, I'm sure there's a lot of interest to see what will happen here. But we have not been hearing a lot of stories about any issues transpiring with closings as of the past week here locally. So it may not be as big an issue here in Victoria as many might think it is.
So we'll watch it, maybe not a big impact, at least... immediately.
Yes.
If at all.
If at all. But, to give you an example of what happened in Vancouver last week, people were rushing to accelerate their sales to try to, not pay that tax. And what had happened was all of a sudden sellers started asking for more money. They said, okay, we'll help you accelerate your date, but we want another $100,000. And then lawyers and financial operations got into play as well. We've heard of stories of lawyers who charge another $2,000 or $3,000 just to do the job. So all of a sudden, people, I think it brings out the ugliness in people when things like this happen.
Yeah, that's true. We're talking to Tony Joe. He's a RE/MAX Realtor. He's president of the Asian Real Estate Association. As we talk about this new 15% real estate tax on foreign buyers that takes effect today in the Metro Vancouver area. So what of those, and you mentioned it, the international markets, sounds like they're used to things like this, and perhaps they know their way around it, even in a legal way, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's not a big surprise to you.
No. And again, I think the biggest issue here was just the implementation. On the nose, it seems like a very mean-spirited tax because there was no consultation with the real estate industry. There was no lead time for consumers. Literally, when you consider if you're buying something and all of a sudden you're hit up with a tax that you didn't expect, how would you feel?
Not pleased.
No.
Right?
No.
Yeah.
And on the flip side as well, just from the community standpoint, when the discussion is that this is supposed to help out in affordable housing or making housing affordable in the Vancouver region,
right?
I don't see how that's going to happen. There is still a shortage of inventory. They're looking to build a housing initiatives fund, which is a great idea. But, again, considering it was not that long ago where the province was really welcoming foreign investment with open arms to now all of a sudden taxing these people coming into the province, I think it's an unfortunate situation.
Was it a political move?
Who knows? One can only think.
The bottom line with it, though, is it was to resolve the issues of affordability in that red-hot real estate market of Metro Vancouver. And I guess that's the question we're asking is, will it have any impact at all? And I'm kind of getting a sense from you that it may not have any.
No, personally, I think it has the possibility of even doing the opposite, because whenever we're dealing with investors, and it's all just the dollars and cents, it's only the numbers. It's not, there's no emotion involved as it would be with a buyer like yourself or myself. But what'll happen is when it comes time for them to dispose of that property a few years down the road, they always try to recapture what they put into it. That means what they bought it for, hopefully some market increase, their legal and real estate fees, and now all of a sudden the taxes. So, they're going to try to recapture that when it comes time to resell anyways, which means they're going to resell at a higher dollar. So I think it can go the other way.
Is this strictly for Asian buyers, not American buyers, not European buyers, but strictly something to do something about what some people say is a problem?
I mean, it's really unfortunate. I'm Chinese, as you know. I mean, when the words foreign investor is used,
right.
I mean, that's almost code word for Chinese nowadays, isn't it? And unfortunately, it is affecting other people as well, too, because it's not just the Chinese who are the foreign investors. There's investors from the States that this will affect as well, too. And all of a sudden, it's becoming less attractive for them to come here to Vancouver.
Okay, we're going to watch this.
Yeah.
Right now, whether you're buying or selling, either here in Greater Victoria or, say, Metro Vancouver, what's the advice that we give people buying or selling at this point?
Well, the entire region, so BC in general, remains a very attractive area. I mean, it's a place that people want to be. And this is one of the reasons why we are having this housing crisis, as it were, is because of the fact that people want to be here and the supply is low. So what is the advice? I mean, people need to live somewhere. If they choose to live here in either Victoria or Vancouver, unfortunately, it is not a affordable place to live relative to other places. There are other choices throughout our beautiful country.
Yeah.
But for those who are buying and selling within the region here, it's just another day in the crazy world of real estate.
Everybody wants in,
Yes.
whether it's for an investment or whether you want to live here.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on right now?
Yeah, and Victoria has always been one of those places. When you look at the performance of our town over time, we are relatively flat. We don't see a lot of peaks and valleys, and it's because of all of the things that we have to offer. I mean, it's retirement, it's government, it's military, it's technology nowadays, the weather, tourism. There's so many facets here.
It's a safe place.
And it's very safe.
Yeah. Tony, thanks for this. So we'll obviously keep this dialogue and conversation going through the day. Get your reaction as well here on CFAX 1070. He's Tony Joe. He's a RE/MAX Realtor. He's also president of the Asian Real Estate Association in Vancouver. Thanks for joining us this
Thanks,
morning. 8:28 at CFAX 1070. News is updated in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Weather forecast.